Thank you very much. I'm Shanita from Uganda. I'm bound Kampala, and I'm joining you from my school in the computer lab. Actually, I was deeply honored to have had the opportunity to represent Uganda in the ministerial and validation meetings for the development and adoption of this IGAD child policy. This experience has been both inspiring and empowering, not just for me personally, but also for the many children and young people across the region whose voices need to be heard. Actually, the IGAD child policy emphasizes this by promoting inclusiveness and child-centered approaches to development. I was proud to contribute to discussions about how the policy can address across border challenges like child trafficking in our country, Uganda, early marriages, even being in a room with policymakers, child rights advocates, ministers, and child representatives from across the IGAD region gave me a powerful insight into how policies are shaped, and how they are powerful, and how they are perspective. Actually, challenges and hopes of children in Uganda, especially on issues like education, issues like mental health, early marriages, they were addressed. So this experience taught me that youth voices are meaningfully to shaping a better future, not just for ourselves, but for every child in the region. According to me, I can say that together, let's continue building a future where every child is protected, heard, and empowered. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shanita. I can see messages coming in, wishes, Happy Africa Child Day to my fellow children. And this is Say Hi. Sandra says, this is great. Happy day for the African child, and well done to the children delegates. And just before we get off, Shanita, I will begin with you for just last 1 minute for each one of us. In what ways do you think that the IGAD child policy will improve the lives of the children in the IGAD region? Shanita, I will give this first to you as we do the other round.
Is it okay if you can at least make a pardon of that question?
Yes, in which ways do you think that the IGAD child policy will improve the lives of children in the IGAD region?
Actually, thank you. I think the IGAD child policy will make sure that in every state, or should make sure that in every state, there is promoting access to quality education. In this, I mean by investing in education, giving requirements for these children, because there are districts in my country, Uganda, whereby children face a challenge of poor quality education. Now, for example, a school is called Yangan Primary School. I was with one of the child from that school. It's found in Yumbo district. Then she told me that there are 500 students in a school, but they are having only 38 teachers. But then this district is found in a remote area whereby whereby their parents face poverty. So I kindly request for the IGAD child policy to ensure that children in the IGAD region can access quality education. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shanita, and thank you very much. I'll put the same question to Agnes Ikram. Good. So let me have Agnes. You'll go next, and then Ikram in that order. Agnes.
Okay. For me, what I would like to say is that, as the IGAD region and the members of the IGAD region, you're trying your best to make sure that with the African children, we get the best out of it. And what I would like to say, and what is my opinion towards making it effective, is that after you maybe you launch or after you invent that thing or maybe you launch something, so let it be known that to each and every country, because as the IGA region members are there, maybe we might implement them and you are ready to help us, but when you come back to the ground to each and every country, maybe the ministers or maybe those people in the country are not that active to implement them or to help those children as it is supposed to. So as the IGA region, when you make the implementations, make sure that they reach the highest top of each and every country maybe to the president, and maybe implemented now inside the country, and make sure that the country itself, and you follow up that this country is going to do this and this. Because if we say that only the IGAD people, maybe you come to our countries to provide for us this and this, maybe it won't be that effective. But maybe I know that our countries are able to do it, and all we need is that the IGAD people in the IGAD region to push on it. So you push on our government in each and every country so that you make sure that they make those implementation that they are real and not that they are only in books or they are only on documents. That's all I can say.
Thank you so much, Agnes. We will have another session which is coming up. We'll put the microphone to Ikram. Yes, Ikram, you're still over there.
Okay. Thank you. First, the IGAD child policy is not just a regional document. It's a policy shaped by children's voice and their real needs. And it directly addresses the key areas like education, protection, participation, and health, and so many more basic rights of children. I believe if it is implemented effectively, it will ensure that no child is left behind, especially children living in vulnerable situations like poverty, conflict, and displacement in our region. Also, I see this policy will create a platform for us children representatives in the future to discuss and to have a stage where we come together and discuss our rights and make a change by ourselves and by our voices.
Thank you very much. And you're adding on to the voice to your colleagues. And maybe finally, Agut, what's your take? How do you think this policy is going to change the lives of the children in the region?
So personally, I think this draft is basically going to help in promotion of children's rights, because as we see, it's a legal framework to refer to children's rights. It could include things to do with the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child, not forgetting the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. And this particular document is definitely going to help our children to affirm their rights, and also any other stakeholders to know the rights of children as they do things that are in line with child participation. And it has things to do with enhanced education. As we're developing the draft, or rather viewing it, we found out that there are similar issues in the regions, and that's to do with education, conflict resolution, and stuff. So I believe this particular policy is having things to do with addressing the needs of educational challenges in all the IGAD regions. And likewise, it's going to strengthen child protection systems. That's to do with violence, abuse, and exploitation of children, because this particular draft has everything in it, as I could remember. And not to say last, we have promotion of peace and security. The draft will definitely show us the root cause of this and how to go about the challenges as children, because I believe at times children do not know the root cause of some issues, but then when adults come to explain, we definitely get to know what happened and how we shall go about it. So I believe this draft is going to help in that sector. And lastly, it will enforce regional cooperation. And it started way back. Of course, when we were for the draft, we found out that we have different colleagues around the IGAD region doing this things to do with child participation, child advocacy. So I believe this draft is going to make our ties stronger as we work with other colleagues to see to it that children in Africa have a better life and experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Agut. I do recall the calls that were made for the children for us to have a regional Child Parliament Council, something that brings together a platform where children can raise their voice and advocate for policies, inclusive policies at the regional level. And I believe Dr. Victoria Pasalamega, now this is something that is within our docket right now to advance. So thank you very much, the children. We will have another session towards the end, and we will definitely have you in there. Thank you for the comments. I see a couple of them coming in there. Director Mwambi Mongare letting us know that in Kenya, he's the director for Children Affairs in Kenya, that they are attending. The First Lady is is there at the national celebrations at the country headquarters called Pakueni. Thank you very much, Director Mongare, for also joining this conversation. We will turn to the agenda, and I will call on Dr. Emnet again, who will take us through a discussion, and it is going to be a brief one, on children affected by irregular migration and forced displacement. And then we will welcome Dr. Anthony Njoroge again, also to take us through one of the regional economic communities and how they have been able to handle the issue of children affected by armed conflict. Thank you very much. Over to you, Emnet.
Thank you very much, Bob. So I hope you can still hear me. And I really want to sincerely thank our children's delegates for their brilliant intervention. And so now we are, as you introduced it, we are in the thematic focus session, whereby I'll be making a very brief presentation to highlight the solution that the IGAD Child Policy Framework bring for children on the move, migrant children, but also refugee children. And as we mentioned in our introduction, this policy is highly inclusive and want to make sure that no child is left behind. And the migration and displacement agenda is quite critical for the IGAD region. And as such, the policy aims to tackle it holistically. And as you know, the IGAD region is highly mobile. It's a highly mobile region with high levels of voluntary and forced migration. And children make a significant portion of the migrant and displaced person population, whereby we see children displaced or migrating through irregular channel due to multiple factors, drivers, including conflict, poverty, environmental causes, but also in search of better opportunities, livelihood opportunities, educational opportunities. But let's not forget that a weak family and community protection system also contributes to child mobility, and we tend to overlook that aspect of things. And as a result, children face a highly increased vulnerability to various harms. They are losing their lives. They face death along their journey. They face violence, exploitation, discrimination, including in the access of basic services. The absence of access to basic services is putting their lives in danger. They face detention along their journey and marginalization as well. So this is why overall, it's an overall of why this policy is highly critical to address all these issues that I just presented. So to just give you a few numbers of the magnitude and the prevalence, the extent of the problem, East Africa region is one of the most contributing regions of the migration flow in the African continent. We know one out of four migrant is a child, and most are from our region, from the Eastern Horn of Africa. And we know that out of the top 10 African countries, five are the most hosting child migrants are in the IGAD region, and you can see that in Uganda, for example, children make up to 50% of migrants. In Ethiopia, they account over 40% of migrants. So these are compelling numbers showing the relevance of our programming in the migration and displacement sector, and with regards to children. And as far as forced displacement is concerned, we have compelling numbers once again, very staggering to see that more than half of African refugees are children, 51%. This is a data of 2023. Uganda, for example, one of the Africa's largest hosting country, is also hosting the largest number of child refugees. As far as IDPs are concerned, now once again, an estimated half of the overall IDP numbers are children, and some of the contributing countries are in the region of IGAD. And also, I really want to draw your attention to the situation in Sudan, where 25% of internally displaced person are children. 1 in 4 internally displaced child in Africa lives in Sudan. So once again, the IGAD child policy framework is highly relevant to making sure that these issues are tackled, and one of the solution is to adopt a rights-based approach, making sure that children, migrant children, displaced children, whether they're refugees or IDPs, are integrated in national child protection system. So we advocate for a unified child protection system. We don't want to create a parallel system for migrant and refugee children, but we want to have an inclusive child protection system whereby migrant and displaced children are integrated, protected from violence, abuse, discrimination, and exploitation, and where they can have equal access to service protection and participation. So the policy is guided by the core principles as laid down in the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child and the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, which are the non-discrimination principle, the best interest of the child, and child participation. And in this regard, we know that detention of children for migration-related reasons, for immigration-related reasons, goes against their best interests, and the policy highlights it explicitly. The policy also adopts a preventative approach to migration and displacement, because it highlights the need to address the root causes and risk factors that putting children in difficult circumstances and are compelling them to leave their habitual place of residence, that are compelling them to leave their families. And these are violence, for example, at the household level, family separation, gender inequality, harmful practices, of course, but also structural level issues like poverty, conflict. So in tackling those root causes, it's important to promote a child-sensitive social protection, to build resilience to stressors. So the policy puts social protection at the heart of it. So, and by doing so, it wants to address the root causes and risk factors that are putting children vulnerable to irregular migration or forced displacement. The issue of legal identity and documentation is critical because, as you all know, that documentation, access to birth registration is an access, is a passport to protection. And as I said in my previous presentation, our region registers the lowest birth registration. And by ensuring that all children are registered at birth, that they have access to nationality and ID documents, we could prevent some of the vulnerability stemming from irregular migration and forced displacement. And as far as improving protection and assistance of children on the move are concerned, I think this summarizes, the visualization summarizes the policy, starting from, of course, what the policy promotes is a child-centered case management system, because we want to put in place a strengthened national child protection system that is inclusive of migrant and displaced children. And this could be achieved through delivery of child-sensitive services, putting in place effective referral mechanisms, providing child-friendly information, but also making sure that our member states cooperate, collaborate to ensure a continuum of care across borders along the different steps of children's migration journey. And this is where IGAD's relevance and role comes in, making sure that we established an effective cross-border collaboration, because as a regional body with a regional convening power, it's important for IGAD to play its full role. And in that regard, we're developing currently an SOP for the protection of children on the move that aims to operationalize some of the provisions that the IGAD Child Policy Framework puts forward. So just to conclude, we can see clearly that the policy offers a holistic approach to migration and displacement through a right-based approach. And we require, of course, that member states adopt policies that are child-friendly and migrant-friendly at the same time, because we want to promote that cross-fertilization between, child rights policies and framework, but also, let's not forget the migration and displacement policies and framework. Of course, IGAD is here to ensure that we have an enhanced regional cooperation and we prioritize the protection and dignity of every child on the move because we want to leave no child behind. Thank you very much, Bob. Over to you.
Thank you so very much, and we are able to see you within the boardroom of IGAD1, and thank you so much for that comprehensive presentation, Dr. Mnet. And I will just want to ask if there is anyone who wants to have a comment. Please be sure to share it within the chat, such that we are able to pick it up. And I want to pick up from one of the comments that we have over here as we welcome Dr. Anthony. And this is from Agut. Agut says she's highly impressed because one of my concerns that is accountability is fulfilled today. What roles do government and NGOs play in supporting the policies, objectives in the region, and what are the future priorities? Oh, thank you very much. I'm being reminded to put on my video. And I think Agot is also asking, what roles do governments and NGOs play in supporting the policy objectives in the region, and what are the future priorities for the policy in light of the current regional challenges? And this and a couple of other comments are coming through. So I will first welcome Dr. Anthony to take us through an experience sharing session from COMESA. And I know we were supposed to be having colleagues from COMESA who perhaps have not been able to make it because of the celebration at the regional level. Dr. Anthony, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Bob. Just sincere apologies from the colleagues from COMESA. I spoke to them, but unfortunately they were, by the time this was being planned, it clashed with with another mission they had in Malawi. So I will try to represent them to the best of my ability, but I will draw quite a lot in my background from what Mnet has presented, particularly when we talk about forced displacement, with one of the biggest within our region driver for forced displacement being conflict. And so I don't have a presentation per se, but I will speak through the experience we've had with COMESA, and hopefully maybe we can all pick something from it. So regional economic communities hold a vital position in promoting and safeguarding child rights across Africa by developing influential frameworks that guide national policies and harmonize child protection standards regionally. And this is a case in point with what you're seeing with what Mnet has just presented with the IGAD child policy. As One, the minister from South Sudan did mention that it was an inclusive process. It involved everyone, all the stakeholders, including children. And so this standardization and being able to learn from each other is critical. And the strategic roles of RECs become particularly critical when addressing complex cross-border challenges that impact children, such as armed conflicts, displacement, trafficking, and exploitation. So among the RECs, from our experience, beyond the work we've done extensively with IGAD, COMESA has placed key investments in effectively integrating child rights into broader peace and security frameworks. One, they've started by recognizing the severe impacts of armed conflicts within its member states, and COMESA has proactively embedded child protection measures within its regional policy architecture. The strategic approach has included explicitly designing policy frameworks that focus on child rights and ensuring systematic integration into peace and security, their peace and security agenda. And this is work that is primarily being led by their governance, peace and security team, where what we've seen is that they've placed specific staff personnel within their ranks who actually focus on children and youth, and particularly on the child protection agenda. What I would like to note specifically as one of the key things we've worked with them around is one, leveraging on our extensive technical expertise in child protection. What we've done with COMESA is innovative initiatives that address the vulnerability of children affected by armed conflict. And key to this has been the joint development of comprehensive child-sensitive early warning systems and indicators. And these systems are specifically designed to detect early signs of risk related to child recruitment and exploitation during armed conflicts. And this has also been work that we've collaborated also with jointly with COMESA and the Africa Union, making sure that these indicators are embedded into the COMESA early warning mechanism, COM1, and also into the AU C1 initiative. This extensive work has also involved capacity building with member states, policymakers, frontline practitioners. So we've worked with a lot of organizations that do collect data and feed into the early warning systems, and then consistently keep learning from that and keep improving the indicators, refining them. And we're still in the process of getting it right. It's a new concept, but it's also one way where COMESA is demonstrating that agility and intuition to actually attempt to get it right. Further, we've worked with COMESA to develop and adopt the COMESA child protection in armed conflict strategy, which took effect from 2023 actually, and runs for a period of 4 years. And this also now is defining COMESA's investment in terms of when they're budgeting, when they are planning for their resources, in terms of how much do they need to place on child protection. And it has a clear plan in terms of what needs to be done. And the strategy outlines actionable commitments for COMESA member states, mandating, requiring regular reporting, systematic monitoring, and immediate responses of violations to children and conflicts. Further to this, also we've brokered conversations between COMESA and the Africa Committee of Experts, and this has, as even Mnet was pointing up, in terms of what IGAD is doing, which is a step in the right direction, is going a step further and developing standard operating procedures and guidelines that then can guide member state and actors in terms of how to act and how to respond. What I also want to add is the tangible impact of COMESA's comprehensive child rights integration has been, one, the heightened regional visibility of child protection issues amongst their member states, effectively influencing agenda of meetings, prioritizing child rights across member states. Then also what we've seen is also COMESA facilitating intergovernmental coordination on certain issues based on that strategy, and also setting a high standard in terms of just not just saying we are addressing these issues, but also following it up with resources and time. So that's one thing we've learned from that end. In conclusion, what I want to mention is I do think there is a significant space, and particularly for the issues we're dealing with, migration, displacement, cross-border issues, for RECs to actually take an active space and be influential in that space and providing some form of leadership, guidance, technical expertise. And what MNET particularly is doing on the migration and displacement front and child protection within IGAD is actually, for me, a testament of what a REC can actually do and be then emerge as a key voice. And the processes that we've seen with IGAD, particularly building up to the adoption of the policy and the subsequent steps taken to roll out and ensure implementation, are critical. And that's what I would hope that other RECs like EAC, ECOWAS, SADC can actually begin to emulate. I know the EAC has already developed its child policy. It's advanced, it's been implemented, but what I'm seeing IGAD doing is an accelerated process, which I think is something worth emulating. Back to you, Ambrose.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Anthony, and thank you so much for bringing to light what is happening in other spaces within other regional economic communities in so many areas, and we appreciate the areas you've highlighted. It's good to know that C1, some of these have already been put in C1. C1 is one of our platforms. The issues on early warning, data, and heightened visibility. These are very key, and I think on the second part of this programming, we will be seeing some of these coming through. I will not take so much time, but I will just look at just one comment before I call on Dr. Victoria. We are coming to the end, almost to the end, and I know we are just behind schedule a little bit, but also to appreciate all those who are joining. We are over 70 people on the call, at just about 70 people, and thank you so much for joining. We have Shanita saying that since the IGAD child policy, again I'm being reminded to put on my camera, since the IGAD child policy acts as a roadmap for government to ensure every child in the region is safe, healthy, educated, and empowered, regardless of nationality, migration status, gender, or background, with strong implementation, it has the power to transform the lives of children in the region. And thank you so very much, Shanita, for that. I saw from Baba Africa, he says, greetings and happy day of the African Child 2025. Congratulations for the first IGAD commemorations, but also much appreciated to our comrade team, Dr. Eminette, for the presentation on the child policy. As the East African Child Rights Network, we fully support this policy, and we believe it will go a long way in promoting the realization of the children's rights in the region. I'll end for now with one that is coming in from Leticia Ambizimana, who says congratulations to the entire team behind this successful virtual event. I can see many messages coming in. Please keep them streamed from the Chief of Staff at the IGAD Secretariat, the Honorable Mubarak Mabuya. He says the children of the IGAD region are not just victims, they are resilient, resourceful, and capable of leading change. Our role is to unlock that potential by, and this is in bold, investing in protection, education, mental health, and opportunities for participation. The IGAD Child Policy serves as a catalyst for these requisite investments. So thank you so much for the comments that are coming in. We appreciate them. And straight up, I will go to what we would have as the concluding session, which is going to be led by Dr. Victoria Nib, very instrumental, who was championing that process late 2024. Dr. Victoria Nib, you have a session on a call to action and moderating for us the closing session. Over to you, Dr. Victoria.
Thank you, Bob, for that. We've heard a lot from our dignitaries during the opening remarks. We've also listened to Dr. Emnet presenting on the child policy for the sake of those who are not involved. We've also seen snapshots on the consultations, and I'm sure many of you were impressed to see how children were very articulate on issues and how they really voice their challenges, concerns, and expectations and aspirations. And that's a testament that child participation and child inclusion is very important and key. And the children also spoke today about their experiences during the consultations, and many of them appreciated the IGAD for involving them. And it has shown us that the children are really are well versed and they have a thorough understanding of the policy, and that's the key for us to include them in the first place. Now, we would like to have a call for action, and we want to hear from member states. And I quote one of the children who mentioned earlier, saying that we don't want a policy on paper, we want implementation. So that brings us to hear from member states on how are you going to implement and in terms of policy, in terms of legal reforms, what are you going to do at national level? And also, what are your pledges in terms of resource mobilization and coordination mechanisms? How are member states going to be involved in these two things? And I'll start with Djibouti. Djibouti. Representative from Djibouti. And kindly make it very brief because we're running out of time and we're already behind schedule. Representative from Ethiopia, if you can come in to give us your insight on these two questions so that we shape our call for action. Our member state representatives online, can you tell us your view? In that case, let me jump to the children. Our children, I know some of you spoke earlier about implementation of the policy or expectations. Can you one by one tell us how do you want your governments at national level to implement the policy? And what do you want from IGAD in implementation of the policy?
Okay, should I start?
Yes, you can start.
Okay, as a child right advocate, I want to see IGAD and our governments turn this policy into real action, not just a name or, written documents. So children don't need words. We need results and implementation. Also, we want to see a clear action plan, a proper budget and a monitoring system to make sure this policy is not just a written or just a promise for children. Also, most importantly, children's voice must be included not just in the validation or consultation process, but also in the evaluating and implementation process. This day is the Day of African Child, and the team said planning and budgeting for children's rights. Budget allocated must be prioritized to ensure long-term commitment for the brighter future of African children, also the IGAD region children. So I would like to see this policy to be implemented by our government and the IGAD region member states.
Thank you so much. Uganda, South Sudan, other members present online from our children. Agot, Agnes.
Yes. Once again, I'm glad that I'm being given this opportunity to express my call of action concerning the draft, or rather the policy that was put into action. So, in my opinion, I think the right way to do this is to allocate resources that the children, NGOs, and my government can be able to use to make sure that this particular policy reaches out to every child. You know, we have children in the marginalized areas. If I talk of South Sudan, Unity State, we have children out there who have no access to documents that are essential in their lives. For us to rather have a better policy that reaches out to everybody, we need to have resources that are being provided specifically by the government and even the IGAD region, the IGAD member states, to see to it that it reaches out to everybody. Likewise, children should be made to spearhead this process, because right from the start, the children shared their views, their experiences, and what they think fits properly and where in the draft. So it would be right for the children to also take lead in this particular part of the policy, to reach out to their colleagues, and they know how to express. We children, we have the voice, we know how to talk to our fellow children. Sometimes when adults talk to us, we tend to think that's really, really boring. But if it's their children, they know how they can reach out to their fellows. And lastly, the policy should be made accessible. I know it could be online, but then we have issues to do with the digital divide in our societies, not only in South Sudan, but also in the other regions of IGAD. So I think it would be much more better to equip maybe the children parliamentarians, or rather any child advocate, with this particular policy, or maybe the handout could be physical or online, so that they can be able to reach out to other children out there. Thank you.
Agot, before you go, can you tell us how do you want to be involved in future in discussions at national and regional level regarding child rights? How do you want to be involved in future?
Yes, so I would love it more if invited to sessions where. Pardon? I beg your pardon, please.
Are you currently satisfied with the current participation, or you would like to see any more better involvement in national and regional child rights discussion in the future?
Well, what I could say is that the start of the participation was a good sign, though it wasn't what I expected. Of course, we were very few. So I pledge to all governments or IGAD to make sure that as they are deciding, or rather creating policies or any other thing, they include children at a higher rate, of course. So I would love to see higher participation in other issues to do with children issues, and yeah.
Thank you, Agot. Agnes?
Okay, thank you once more for giving me this platform so that I can speak on my view. So, as for me, what I would like to say is that it's good that we are being included in this participation or in this implementation. And my view is that as we are trying to make these implementations in each and every region, let it be in a way that we know that the government of each and every country has to take part in this. So if we are discussing on matters of, let me say, of education, let us be in that meeting, we have that if in each and every country. So the one who is head of education in each and every country, like let me say the CS of education in Kenya is being included there so that he can get the right hand information and tell that person what we want concerning education. If it's on matters of children health, that person, if it is the cabinet secretary of health from each and every country, they'll be included there so that they can get it. So because at some point we will send them and implement them, and when they reach there, maybe I don't know, let me say, for example, some might assume that they have not heard of it or not seen it. So they'll be there in the meeting with us while we tell them hand to hand, so they get our information hand to hand. And that is each and every country that is IGAD region, not some to miss, because when some will not miss it, this will mean that some countries or some regions will not succeed or will not benefit in that. And in a way that when, at some point when we implement this, maybe when these things are implemented, maybe a country they can go and make issues in, let me say, in a certain place, a well-developed place. That's how many countries do that. If we say education, we find that they will go improve education on the place that is already improved. So we want to see that, and the government show us that this is what we did. This is the place with vulnerable children. This was how the state was. This was how their learning was before this. It was poor, and they showed us that we have done this and this, so that we ourselves can witness and see that there is a step which has been taken. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Agnes. Asante sana. Now we hear from Shanita from Uganda.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Victoria. According to me, I would love to see a children's parliament in our country, because there is no way you go in the parliament and to discuss some issues for us without consulting us. Sometimes my NGO always organize camps whereby some children will go there to represent other children in remote areas to share out their challenges. But I wonder how some of our ministers or our leaders, they go in the parliament, they start discussing for us without consulting us. So me, what I would love, it's all about, what I would focus or specify about is child participation. We need a children's parliament in our country, so that if we give out the challenges that we are facing, this challenge of poor quality education, about child marriages, so that these challenges can be taken to the parliament, and after being taken to the parliament, our minister or any representative brings back that manifesto to us, that according to what you said or according to the challenges you gave out, this is going to be worked upon. Within which time, how long will it take? We need to know. According to me, I really love to see a children's parliament in my country. Yeah.
Thank you, Shanita. That brings us to Suad from Somalia. Suad, can you also give us your final remark? Thank you. Suad, are you there? We would like to hear your view on what you want your government to do at national level to implement the IGAD child policy, and what you expect in terms of participation in the future.
Dr. Victoria, I think Suad may not be next to a microphone, but we have a hand, maybe a final one from.
Okay, we can allow that hand to say something.
Yes,
yeah.
From Ikram.
Okay, Ikram, please go ahead.
Okay, just to make my final remarks on the last question, what I expect from the future participation. So on the day of the signing ceremony of our ministers, I had a chance to meet different children representatives from across IGAD regions, and that was a best moment for us, because it's was a platform for us to exchange our ideas and experiences. So in the future terms, I believe as a child representative, we have the responsibility also to implement this policy on our behalf of the children we represent. We have to be a part of implementation. Also, we have the responsibility to implement this policy on our child parliamentarian discussions. So as a child rights advocate, I'm fully committed to working with my fellow children's NGOs, our government, and decision makers for the policy implementation, because I believe starting the policy or planning the policy is the first thing, and the implementation is where the future really change. So that's my final remarks.
Thank you, Swat. Thank you so much. Our partners, what can you do more? I know Save the Children have been doing a tremendous work in that, but what can you do to really influence the policy implementation at your side?
Good morning.
Yes, go ahead.
My name is I don't know, I'm seeing a video left. Should I put my, oh yeah. My name is Caroline Olilo. I don't know whether my director, Mr. Mwambi, is here because he has given his apology. He's attending the our National Day of the African Child at a place called Makueni County. But I wanted to give our input as far as implementation of the child policy framework is concerned. First of all, I'm very proud of, I'm very, very proud of the children. Congratulations for your child participation and being very, very candid with us. So as far as Kenya is concerned, we are reviewing the child participation. We normally have child participation guideline, so it is underway. That's our contribution towards child participation component in the child policy framework. Secondly, we are making an effort to allocate resources for Kenya Children Assembly and child participation activities. We are also revitalizing the Kenya Children Assembly so that all children in the nation participate in Children Assembly. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Maybe on behalf of IGAD colleagues, I'll give an opportunity to our Chief of Staff, Mubarak Mbuya, who was the previous interim director for health and social development, to give us input on how IGAD can support how IGAD can mainstream the policy into structures, programs, and operations across various sectors beyond health and social development. Mr. Mubarak, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Victoria. I recognize all protocol, and I'm pleased to be part of this very important interaction, particularly regarding the Day of the African Child, but also the occasion for us to be able to share our own IGAD policy on matters of children. Certainly, a lot has been said. I also join the colleagues that have recognized the eloquent statements by the children. For us, this is a source of inspiration, and it also aligns with our own normative acknowledgement of the principle that we need to involve children in what we do. So child participation being a key aspect of our policy. I don't want to repeat what has been stated by the various speakers, and certainly also appreciation to Dr. Emmet for excellent job she has done, and also appreciation to our partners, Save the Children, SDC, and of course our member states for your time and engagement in this process. Back at IGAD, certainly you have challenged me to say something about what we need to do within the framework of IGAD. Certainly there's a lot that we can do, and this is quite timely because we have initiated the process of coming up with a new generation of the IGAD regional strategy. The current one runs from 2021 to 2025. So the policy, today's event are quite timely in terms of informing where we can place children's voices and also all the normative requirements around child protection and related services in our own work. You know that IGAD, we work on matters of resilience to climate change, and many children are impacted by climate change. So there's a lot of space to see what we can do at Trigger able to bring our countries together in terms of taking responsible action, where we can be able to support children, whether in areas of digital learning innovations, whether in child protection systems or social protection reform that can reshape the future of these children. We can also enhance our partnerships with the strategy, regional strategy, to ensure that every child has the right to survive, to thrive and participate. These are very broad aspirations. We shall self-translate them in the different areas. I talked about climate resilience, agriculture and the environment, but also in our work around economic cooperation and regional integration, where we can deal with issues of child labor, we can deal with all those vulnerable children in the cross-border areas, and so on and so forth. But also, most importantly, in our work on matters of peace and security. I did post somewhere in the chat earlier on where I say that millions of children in the region are caught in the crossfire, violent conflict and political instability. And many of these children are forced into refugee camps, internally displaced persons settlements, and also others through dangerous migration routes. Where I see children 12 years, 13 years walking through the desert, going to Obok to cross the Red Sea and move into dangerous migration. Some of them have even lost their lives. So we can do a lot of programming around that, be able to protect children through our work, and not only peace and security, but also social development, and so on and so forth. And that will also inform our work in terms of mediation. We're actively involved in mediation of regional conflict, so we can deepen that our strategy and see how the children's voices and perspectives can be amplified and considered by mediators and all stakeholders in addressing the conflicts in the region. We'll be able to push for budgetary allocations so that children's issues are addressed. Also in our own advocacy, because our policy and a day like this is an advocacy catalyst, so that we can promote safe schooling, inclusive services, but also most importantly, pushing for accountability for violations of children's rights. So there's a lot of space for us to do this. I'm grateful to the colleagues who are in senior management who have attended this meeting, but also the technocrats, and to say today should be an opportunity to open the doors larger. Also, the doors have been closed. Open the doors larger so that we can do some child rights-focused thinking, child rights-focused planning, child rights-focused budgeting, child rights-focused reviews and evaluations. And that way we shall know that our region and the future of the region is very secure if our children are well protected. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I was not on the call to speak, but I greatly appreciate this, and allow me to appreciate Excellencies, the ministers from our member states and partners who have made this day possible. We really hope that this opens a new chapter in how we will be celebrating the Day of the African Children, so that it's not just a day on the calendar, but we how to ignite this promise for our children, a promise that is rooted in the courage of these young children, as they were told at the beginning in 1976, who rose against injustices and demanded the future of dignity, equality, and opportunity. So we hope that that will be a good thing for us to keep on doing, probably even do it better and larger as we move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief of Staff. We have listened to the children, what they want us to do in terms of implementation. We've also listened to our dignitaries and ministers earlier on what their countries are aiming to do in terms of the policy implementation. And lastly, we have listened to our Chief of Staff on how IGAD can maintain the IGAD child policy across sectors, that because it touches on peace and security, climate change, and other divisions within and specialized institutions within the IGAD. Before I conclude and before we go to the closing session, I would like to call upon Bob to read 2 complimentary remarks. Bob, over to you.
Thank you so very much, Dr. Victoria. Maybe just adding to Caroline from the government of Kenya, we have Rogers Golova, who is from the government of Uganda. He says that children are IGAD's member states' greatest assets. If well nurtured, protected, and educated, we lay a strong foundation for the region's peace, stability, social, and economic transformation. We also have one here coming in from our colleague, and this is Girum, Dr. Giruma from IGAD Health. He says, congratulations, and a big step in the implementation of the child policy. Some recommendations over here, we can use the AU Interrex platform, where IGAD is the current chair. The cross borders are rich for participation. Established cross-border committees are favorable for children to be part and engage in activities that contribute to the well-being of the children and the youth. And this is the final one coming in from Arusha Soei. He says this has been a great session, particularly hearing from the children. Well done to IGAD for facilitating this celebration of what is a memorable day in the African region. And thank you very much for participating. Over to you, Dr. Victoria.
Thank you, Bob. As we're running behind schedule, without further ado, I will go straight to concluding remarks, starting with our donor, Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation, and that's none other than Ms. Jalila Alimu, National Program Officer, Migration and Protection and Nexus, to represent the donor. Over to you, Ms. Galila.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we can hear.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting SDC to be part of this important event. I'll continue to the concluding remarks. Excellencies, respected IGAD member states, Save the Children colleagues and partners, child delegates, and all other distinguished guests. It's an honor for me to have been here with you today on this important occasion to celebrate the Day of the African Child and to deliver this closing remark on behalf of the Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation. On behalf of SDC, I'd like to sincerely thank each of the participants for their time and active participation and rich discussion we had today. Celebrating the Day of the African Child provides a platform to raise awareness about various challenges faced by children in Africa, including issues related to education, health, protection, and to encourage action to address these challenges. It also emphasizes the importance of upholding the rights of the African children as outlined in the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child and the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. The day serves as a powerful reminder to our communities to prioritize children's needs, ensuring they grow and reach their full potential. Existing continental children-specific instruments like the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child oblige African states to not just adopt policies, but to also allocate resources to implement them. This year's theme serves as a reminder for states to take stock of the measures they have taken in allocating the necessary resources intended for children's rights protection. The SDC is very proud to have seen the IGAD child policy adopted, a significant milestone attained within the framework of the East African Migration Route Project, supported by the Swiss Development Cooperation. The IGAD child policy directly aligns with this year's theme. The policy encourages member states to allocate adequate budgeting and resources reflecting the needs and challenges of children. Today's event has brought together IGAD member states, IGAD divisions, children who are the key stakeholders of children's issues, CSOs, and relevant partners. SDC values the efforts of stakeholders to ensure the protection of children in the region and is keen to see the outcome of the IGAD child policy, which will be realized through its enforcement by member states. It is the duty of all to ensure children's rights are valued and respected. In closing, I'd like to highlight that it's always important to celebrate progress, but progress is without sustained investments risk being temporary. This year's team challenged us all as policymakers, donors, and implementers to ensure that every commitment to children is matched by a budget line and a concrete plan. I'd like to leave us with a call to our collective commitment to act. I thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker will be Ambassador Musa, Director of Health and Social Development, to give us remarks. Ambassador. Ambassador Musa.
Good morning again. Thank you so much for all of you, the active participation. I want to commend, the proactivity and the active participation of our children. I'm very, very proud how they are standing to climb the right. And I think IGAD policy framework for child is very clear. Is now the first, celebration now that you understand that the IGAD Secretariat is achieving, and going very well to stand, the implementation of the policy of the regarding, the child's, in terms of health, education, social protection, and I think justice. We listen and we hear. This I can say on behalf of Your Excellency, the Executive Secretary of IGAD, my colleague, the Chief of Staff, Mr. Mubarak, highlighted, different initiative and talked about the different program that we have, how we can link, the support and, for the child. This is very important. I want also to thank all the member states, IGAD member states, and specifically our chair, His Excellency Madam Muna Osman Adan, the Minister of Women and Family of Djibouti, the chair, for her eminent here who highlighted, the policy of IGAD and our partners who stand with us. Thank you so much. I think we can, we all said, and I think I have no longer keep the floor. I just transfer the floor to Dr. Victoria. Over to you, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Ambassador. Thank you for your remarks and thank you for your strong leadership in making this event a success. Our final concluding remark will be given by Her Excellency Muna Osman Aden, Minister for Family and Women, Government of Djibouti, the IGAD Chair. Your Excellency, you're welcome. Apologies to our participants. I was just being told that the minister has left, but we'll be projecting the ministerial video instead of that. So Bob, please, can you facilitate that?
Thank you so much, Dr. Victoria. We have the summary video, which we are going to project, but maybe just a final call. For those who are looking out for the policy, we have put it in the chat. You are able to download the policy, and I will ask Mnet to reshare it in the chat such that we are able to download the copies and access the final, the complete policy, the IGAD Child Policy Framework. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. As we exit, we'll be watching the video, and I want to take this opportunity to thank Mnet, the program lead for child programming, and my colleague Bob, also our Director for Health and Social Development, Ambassador Musa, all the IGAD colleagues, our ministers, member states, particularly the children, for their participation in making this event a colorful event. I'm looking forward to see you in future engagements.
Event represents a crucial milestone in our collective commitment and safeguarding the rights, dignity, and well-being of children across IGAD member states and the region as well. Today, we convey with a unified understanding, children are architects of our future.
The adoption of the IGAD Child Policy will serve as a cornerstone for ensuring that children across the region enjoy the highest standards of protection, assistance, and participation.
This event marks not just the adoption of the IGAD Child Policy Framework, but also the realization of a vision, one that reflects the collective commitment to ensuring that children's rights are prioritized at the regional level. I would like to commend IGAD for the exceptional leadership and dedication in making this process a reality.
Addressing child rights issues across IGAD member states requires multidimensional approach due to diversity of challenges such as poverty, conflict, limited access to quality education, violence, and weak healthcare systems. Remember to meaningfully participate as children in process of implementation the child policy.
L'engagement qui sera pris aujourd'hui dans cette salle devra nous donner une orientation visible, palpable et stable, surtout de durabilité, pour que nos enfants soient protégés de tout risque et problématique dans notre région.
The policy envisions to strengthen political will and commitment of national governments in realization of children's rights. This provides strategic regional guidance and enhance regional child rights agenda and further cement the efforts of IGAD on child-focused approaches.
This policy is not just an agreement between governments. It is a promise to our children and a commitment to shaping a better future for them.
Now, we hereby agree to endorse the IGAD Child Policy Framework.
I just would love to say congratulations for IGAD for making this happen.
you.